All right, folks. Bottom of the ninth in Cincinnati. 7-6 ball game. Clay Snowden, what's going on, brother?
Hey, man, how's it going? How's your Sunday?
It's been a wild ball game here. Are you in the line of weather as well? I kind of got some up here in Northeast Ohio too. So
It's sunny here in Lexington right now. We had a little bit of rain earlier, but no weather yet, at least.
all right, just make sure. I just saw Ellie strike out. Is that where you're at?
Well, I my stream's a little bit behind, but I'm
Okay.
following the game the game day.
Okay. The game came probably ahead of me as well, but we'll see how we get. All right, one down here.
It's been a problem for me all year. My stream, just how I have to watch the games, is the Bally Sports app, which is like 20-30 seconds behind. So not on Twitter as much live on Twitter, that is. So
yeah, you don't want to get things spoiled for you.
Yeah.
Well, if you are watching this on replay after the game ended, as always, right in the notes, right below the stream, it'll be broken down into chapters. Just click the full game recap. That'll skip you right to when we restart the game, and it's more of a traditional podcast type show. See the chat's popping. We'll try to keep up with you today. Trace is at the game. Yeah. This team, Nick, man, they just never quit.
Nick, have you been practicing your singing
Get down. I don't know. I'm debating if I'm retired from singing. I enjoy pissing off angry people. I'm not going to lie. But I don't know. There's been some happy people that didn't like it, so I don't know.
Oh, I hated it.
I know. If it was just the cranky people that didn't like it, I would do it. I mean, I'm all about that. We'll see.
No, I enjoyed it. You all are having fun. All
right, Andy, let's hit a walk-off home run.
Could you imagine?
Dude, it just would be nuts. I'm not even trying to look at the game cast, so I can try to react live. I'm sure it's ahead. Chad, I'm sure you're always ahead of me somehow. There we go. Good take. So I'm not looking. I'm just watching. But it's been a fun series, Clay, huh?
Man, it's been so incredible to watch. I was not able to watch Saturday's game.
Good take.
I was out fishing, so man, but Friday's game was up there with one of the best Great American Ballpark games I've watched in recent memory, for sure.
Yeah, and you know, after the game ended, I had a little bit more perspective to think about the game. It's honestly was kind of cool that the last win of the streak ended on such an incredible game. It just kind of, I think, added to like the long-term legacy of it. Like if you remember in 2012 when they had that win streak, the last game was kind of like a snooze fest. They won just a, boring, I think like 4-1 game or something like that in Colorado. It was never really all that close.
Yeah.
But to have it end on such an exciting, I think it will just add to how cool it is. All right, I'm watching the 3-2 here to India. These Cincinnati Reds, man. These Cincinnati Reds.
They're never out of it, man. They just love it. It's like
incredible.
You want them to you know what? You want them to be down in the game. You want them to be losing during the game so that they can come back.
This is just stupid, and I love it.
Kevin Newman, man. Kevin Newman.
Is he up? Oh, my God. We out? We only have catchers left, right? Good take. Good take. I think we only have catchers left, right?
I believe so.
Maley and Casale.
Yeah.
Newman's a good bat to ball guy. You just hope he, doesn't do the one thing you don't want here.
Come on, man.
Make some noise. Make noise.
I was thinking today, I'm not trading Kevin Newman at the deadline.
I'm not either, man. If you're a playoff team, you want him. Good take, Kev. You want him as a platoon guy that's on your bench. He's a guy that you can sit for 6 straight days, and
The
it's not
Newman
going to
return
impact.
would not be worth it. He can help you more this year than the return can in the future, I think.
I agree. I'm pro Newman. Now, if God forbid the Reds fall out of the race, then I think they should trade him because there's really no point in keeping that kind of player in your roster. But if you're in a race, you want Kevin Newman on your team.
Yeah.
Come on, Kev. Just grinding. Kevin Newman.
Fouling off pitches, man.
Raisel Iglesias. Man, Iglesias, he's got to be on fumes at this point, right?
Yeah.
Oh, foul. Oh. You're not watching. You're just watching the game cast. Are you watching, but you're behind?
I am. I have the game on my iPad here, but it's so far behind. I'm just watching the game cast. Yeah, I didn't want to spoil anything for you there. That's why I was delaying.
Well, what a series, folks. We'll be back to talk about it.
High drive, left center field, racing back to the Laurel Bourgeois. The Reds are National League Central Division champions. In the air, left center field. Did he? He did! He did! Red win! Line to right field. Genius, the first run ever. With 4 home runs in a game. Can you believe it? In the air, down the right field line. Doesn't have a chance. The Reds have won on a 3-run home run on opening day by Ramon Hernandez. A strike away and out away is Homer Bailey. Ground ball to third. Frazier gloves. Throw to first, and Homer Bailey, for the second time in his major league career, has tossed a no-hitter. Oh, God. Are you kidding me? Holy Moses, the second player in major league history to hit 7 home runs in the first 10 games. In the air, and the Reds win it. What a dream beginning to the career of Jay Bruce.
All right, what's going on? Nick Kirby here with Clay Snowden, Reds, Chatterbox Reds postgame. Reds fall 7-6 to the Braves, and another incredible game, an incredible series. Clay, thanks for taking the time to join us. How are we feeling on this Sunday afternoon?
After losing, I don't feel all that bad, honestly. I mean, you give up 7 runs and you lose, and somehow I'm not like super disappointed.
Yeah. I mean, this was a series. I think the Reds showed some of their deficiencies for sure. But they scored a lot of runs against a really, really good Braves pitching staff, the team that came in one of the best in baseball. This offense is legit. They're playing well. Obviously, we'll talk about the needs for this team and how realistic it is to address them right now as we kind of get through the show. But fun weekend of baseball. Great to see the stadium packed out, fans excited. I think that the Reds should hold their heads high after this weekend. I know some people don't want to hear it, but I think it was a well-played series overall from the Reds, and let's go win in Baltimore.
Yeah, I think that we learned something about this Reds team, and that is that they can go toe-to-toe with the Braves. Like, it wasn't pretty the entire time, and Friday was such a bizarre game, and, the starting pitching is a problem. It is. But the offense is showing that it can help you steal some games that you should not steal in Major League Baseball, but they're going to steal some games from it. Hopefully the rotation gets healthy. Hopefully they bring in some reinforcements and they can solidify this baseball team.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into it. I kind of got a rundown here. We'll start off with Ian Jabot. That's kind of where I guess we'll start with the game. I don't know. Maybe we should, No, we're starting with Matt McClain. I had Jabot on there first, but then McClain got his fourth extra base hit. We're going to start with, you know what? I'm all over the place because I'm not my element here. We got to do the box score recap.
I was wondering what's going on, man.
I got a whole bunch of stuff written down here, but I'm a little out of my element, so hang with me, bear with me here, and we'll run through it. All right, box score recap. Third straight sellout, nearly 127,000 came to this 3-game series at Great American Ballpark. Levi Stout forced into the starting rotation without even being fully stretched out. Put up 2 scoreless innings to start the game. But then in the third, a poor read on a fly ball from the first batter in the inning by Jake Fraley in right field. Probably overcompensated with a dive, led to a leadoff triple. Stout would then walk 3 batters in the inning and 3 runs would score. That made it 3-0 Braves. Bottom of the third, Matt McClain and Spencer Steer both doubled. That made it 3-1. Bottom of the fourth, Tyler Stevenson and Nick Senzel singled to start a rally. And then Matt McClain, 2 RBI double, tied the game up at 4. Randy Wynn came in to relieve Stout in his big league debut. Very impressive 2 1/3 innings in relief. Ian Jabot came in, and then Matt Olson hit a pitch well out of the zone off Ian Jabot. 2 outs in the 6th. That put the Braves up 6-3. The Reds fought back, as they always do. Matt McClain's solo home run in the 7th made it 6-4, his 3rd extra base hit of the day. And the pitch that he hit was maybe even farther outside of the strike zone than the one that Olson hit up and away to McClain. Braves got a run back in the 8th inning that proved to be really big. David Bell decided to bring in Alexis Diaz to try to clean up Buck Farmer's mess. Alexis Diaz walked in a run as Diaz continues to maybe struggle a little bit in these non-save situations. But Matt McClain had a 2 RBI double in the bottom of the 8th, his 4th extra base hit of the day, becoming the first Reds rookie since Chris Sabo in 1988 to have 4 extra base hits in a game. Reds, they had the tying run on third base, but Kevin Newman grounded it into a double play in the bottom of the 9th to end the ballgame. Reds have now lost 2 games in a row for the first time since June 8th through 9th. The Brewers did win on Sunday, so the Reds' lead in the NL Central is down to 1.5 games. But let's start off with the most positive thing, the most exciting thing about Sunday. Matt McClain, 4 extra base hits. They were all hard hit balls. There wasn't like one of these balls was a cheap hit. It's not like he had a little double that he dinked into the outfield or anything like that. Matt McClain came up as hot as you possibly could have ever dreamed he comes up. Slowed down a little bit. I mean, his slowing down wasn't really that bad. And then the last 2 games, he's picked it right back up. How impressive has Matt McClain been, Clay?
Man, absolutely incredible. Reds fan Brandon tweeted out as the youngest Reds player to have 4 extra base hits in a game. He has just been awesome. And it kind of shows, like, last year his numbers were not great. And it shows that sometimes, you can have a down season as a prospect, or, it doesn't always translate your minor league numbers to your major league numbers. But his just approach at the plate has been great. He does have some holes in his game, but overall, this is a player that I'm really wanting the Reds to do a pre-arb deal with. I love the position that he can bring at shortstop or second base. I love having him near the top of the order, get him as many at-bats as possible. And today just showed like how great of a hitter he is. Rather it be driving the ball to the gap or just hitting it towards, to the right of second base for I believe that was his second double of the game. So just a really impressive player who's growing in front of our eyes.
Yeah, no question about it. And 921 OPS for Matt McLain. Let's go back a little bit on Matt McLain, because this was a guy we were excited about. But I think those of us who actually watched a little bit of Matt McLain last year with Chattanooga, like, it's just insane how far he's come in such a short time.
Yeah, he struggled with velo high in the zone last year, and we've seen that at times at the majors as well, but he's made adjustments at the plate. Perhaps the thing that impresses me the most is just how good he's been at shortstop too. Like, his defense at short is really, really good. And, rather he plays for a long time, probably a different discussion for a different day, but he was a guy I was always kind of high on. I always said he is what I think that we wanted Nick Senzel to be. Like, I kind of picture that as Matt McLain now, and just a huge, huge burst of energy into this lineup.
Yeah, for sure. No question about it. All right, now let's get to Ian Jabot. Ian Jabot's had the magic this year. Did he get pinned with a loss in this one?
He did. Randy Wynn got lost.
Did poor Randy get pinned with a loss in this?
Yeah.
That's garbage. I mean, I know that's the right scoring system, but he pitched so well. The wins and losses are stupid.
So
absolutely dumb. But nonetheless, Ian Jabot, that was an incredible pitch that Matt Olson. I mean, this Braves team is incredible. This was their 50th win of the year.
Yeah.
Today. They're incredible. Ian Jabot, though, I know I pointed out on the Bluebird app, the pitch was way out of the zone, but it should be pointed out as well that Ian Jabot did walk the batter before, and that's just, I've said it a million times, so sorry for people hearing me regurgitate this, but for me, I never really get that upset when a reliever gives up a home run, especially when it's a good swing. I do. It is frustrating when you walk guys, and when you're facing a team like the Braves, you can't walk guys and get away with it. Eventually, they're gonna find a way to make you pay for it, and the Braves and Matt Olson did today.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of debate about that pitch that Jabot threw to Olson. Bottom line, like, he was kind of living up in the zone, and he threw a pitch that was, in my opinion, like, uncompetitive, like, out of the zone so far that wouldn't matter. In my opinion, that was just one more way to set up a breaking ball low and away or whatnot. And Olson's just really freaking good. And sometimes that just happens. I don't think that the process and the sequencing there was terrible. Like, I would have probably liked to see not all of the same pitches in a, general area of the strike zone. But this ball was so far out of the zone. I kept rewatching it. It was like at his shoulders. But like you said, it's the walk beforehand. It's the small things that end up coming back to bite you. And Jabot just has not been, as reliable as I think he had been in the past. So a pitcher that I wasn't exactly thrilled to see in that situation to begin with. But, he worked to get 0-2 against Matt Olson. And, I mean, it just speaks volumes to how good Matt Olson is, more than just how bad Ian Jabot is, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think Ian Jabot was also the freshest reliever, probably, so that's probably why he was the first one that got called, and that's why I think that probably had a lot to do with it. He actually threw a lot of pitches today, so I think they wanted to get as much as they could out of him first before they went to other guys. As the Reds, really, I mean, they're just trying to really, I guess, piece this together. Jabot threw 30 pitches in this game, so I think that's why he was the first one out there. So I think that had more to do with anything than specifically him being used in that spot. Let's move on to Levi Stout. I was very encouraged with what I saw today from Stout. I know the third inning went sideways, but I think you have to put in perspective where this guy was at. He came into today. He had just returned from the IL last Friday, and he only threw 34 pitches and then 45 pitches in his 2 games. So I really just focused on the 2 innings, and maybe that's, really being optimistic, but I mean, that was what I was really expecting out of him, was just like 2 quality innings. The Reds went for a third, and I don't blame them for that because, again, I mean, you look at how many pitches they ended up having to use today. you have to try to get through these innings. But overall, I was impressed with Stout. I think he deserves a chance to stay in this rotation, or as I mentioned, I would love to see the Reds start using openers with Stout, with Weaver, and I even think with Williamson. I think that could really help these guys. There's 3 guys that the Reds have that I feel are quality pitchers, but aren't going to impact the back end in Fernando Cruz, Derek Law, who we'll talk about in a second. He's going to be back soon. And then also Alex Young, you could use if you're facing a lineup that has a lot of lefties that teams will always bat at the top of the order. I think that's a way to maybe maximize these guys. But I like Stout. I think a lot of people forget this guy's a top 15 prospect. I don't think he's ever going to be a front end of the rotation guy, but I think he definitely has a potential to at least be a back end or a bulk type reliever, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I was lower on him than most coming into the season. I kind of thought he'd be the Jeff Hoffman replacement. So I don't know, when I say this, I don't know how much it actually means, but after his start today, I was more encouraged than I was before it. Like, I kind of thought it would be really bad. And, he did okay. Now, Levi Stout, like you said, Nick, is not going to be a top of the rotation type pitcher. But if he can at least show that he can be a guy who can get outs on occasion, like, it's okay to have depth on your 40 man. If he can be that, that's fine. That's something that the Reds desperately need right now. Like you said, the 3rd inning was not good. Showed signs in the first 2 innings that said, okay, this is better than what we've seen before. So hopefully he continues to improve. He's had so little experience. Like, he's not somebody who's been around for a long time. Like, it's okay to let the leash go a little bit longer until the deadline. If they go out and acquire a starting pitcher at the deadline, like, we don't have to have the conversation about Levi Stout. Hopefully. Injuries have really hurt the Reds.
They might need Levi Stout and to go get another pitcher or two. Let's get into I know everyone, the topic is get pitching. And, like, obviously I'm watching the same games. I see it. I agree with you. There's not been a starting pitcher traded in baseball since the Reds traded Chase Anderson. Like, teams aren't going to just trade a starting pitcher on June 25th. Number one, 75% of the teams probably in baseball think they have a shot at making the playoffs this year. So there's not that many teams that are for sure sellers. And the ones that are sellers are going to be where the Reds were last year. And they're going to want to wait, even for pitchers that are lesser, until the deadline, until there's this overabundance of teams that are willing to pay more. So you're not going to make a move. I think right now you're probably hoping someone dumps someone on the waiver wire and you can pick them up. But really, it's just you're going to have to hope and pray that you can find enough pitching to hold it together, and hope you stay in the race in the process. And then you could go out and look at acquiring a Michael Lorenzen or a Lance Lynn or whoever else might be out there that we've talked about.
And that's exactly what I've been saying, is how many impact trades have happened to this point in time? How many happened in June in the past 20 years? A handful, maybe? You're not going to get impact trades right now. Spencer Watkins of Baltimore was put on the waiver wire and was traded to Houston in like a minor deal. Like, that's how pitching is right now. Like, the teams that have it, it's going to be such a bizarre trade deadline. The Detroit Tigers have a few pitchers that people want. They're like 4.5 or 5.5 games back of first place. Like, why would they do it right now? Like, I do think they will sell eventually, but throwing in the white flag on June 25th is a bit premature. It's going to be near the deadline. The Reds just have to see, and that's the big question right now, is where will they be at the deadline? Is it going to be, are they going to just be digging a grave until then in terms of just like the rotation? I think that they'll still be around the race, don't get me wrong, but how deep of a hole can they dig themselves into if the rotation stays like this? It just comes back to putting too much faith in Luis Cessa in the beginning of the year. That's what it comes back to. And, at that time, a lot of people thought the Reds would not be in the position that they are now. So it all looks different. In my opinion, they get somebody at the deadline and maybe 2, who knows. But it's probably more of an off-season thing that they address it in a bigger picture.
Yeah. I mean, we have to remember the Reds are so far ahead of schedule with really anyone. I don't know if there's anyone who had expectations that the Reds will be where they are right now. So they're ahead of schedule. There's not really anything you can do at this point. And it kind of just is what it is until you get closer to the deadline and you kind of see where you're at. Let's talk about Randy Winn. we got to give this guy some credit, man. I'm assuming he's probably already been optioned at this point. But came up, Reds were desperate for a pitcher today. He gave up a ton of hard hit balls. But he came out, he threw strikes, and congrats to Randy Winn, man. This was cool to see a guy like that's been in the minor leagues as long as he can, come up and pitch well, and really help give the Reds a chance to win the ball game today.
Yeah, Kyle Bodie put out a little thread about him, about how he really fought for him to stick in the Reds organization. Like when they wanted to cut him during COVID, when they were, getting rid of a lot of these type of minor leaguers, he really fought for him to stay. And it was kind of funny. Kyle Bodie was like, yeah, he doesn't have great stuff, but he throws strikes. Like he wasn't exactly like complimenting his skill set, but he was like, this guy's a grinder. He came from indie ball. Now he gets this moment that he gets to remember the rest of his life. So good for him. And you know what? He came in and was effective. He pitched 2 1/3 innings when the Reds needed him desperately, and pitched well enough to keep the Reds, within striking distance.
I'm going to read a text I just got. This is from my good pal, Will. Will's a guy I went to college with. Will is one of the reasons I'm as big of a baseball fan as I am. Will is a diehard fan of the Atlanta Braves. When I went to college, I'd kind of fallen out of love with the Reds and baseball, more so than anything, just because when I was a teenager, the Reds went on cable. We didn't have cable. So, but I went to college out of state in Virginia, and Will and another guy were diehard baseball fans of the Braves, and they got me interested in baseball again. And obviously that was right around the time that Jay Bruce got called up. And I've told the story before. The first game I went to was Jay Bruce's debut. I had no idea who he was. I just magically got there, and the rest is history. I became a big Reds fan after that. But this is the text that he sent me. I think this is pretty cool. What a friggin' series. I haven't been that excited for a Braves series since the 2021 NLCS. I mean, and the Braves have had a lot of success, and I don't know if he's blowing smoke as well. He's not typically the guy that I would think that would do that. But nonetheless, I think that just kind of shows, man, what an exciting series. What an exciting time to be a Reds fan. I have no idea how the rest of the series is going to play out, but man, this has just been so much fun to watch.
Yeah, and you know what? And I tweeted out something similar to this of like, how many moments I'm going to remember that for a long time have we experienced so far this year compared to the last year or two? It has been fun. That winning streak was electric. We saw the effect of all the people at Great American Ballpark. We saw the effect of the Braves and manager pretty much saying like, I don't like facing the Reds. And we saw it again today. They came back, fell short, a run short, but this team does not give up. Even when they lose, a lot of times it's like this, where it's like, at least they kept fighting. At least it was, it didn't look good in the first couple of innings. And at one point I felt watching this game, oof, man, is this going to be that blowout game? Is this going to be the one that gets away? And we say, the Reds didn't have enough steam to keep up with the Braves. Is this going to be 12-3? And it didn't. It ended up being a close game right until the end. And it just shows the fight that these guys have. So even in a loss, there's stuff to take away that's positive. There's stuff to take away that's negative too.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Big spot in the game. Didn't end up working out for the Reds, but I love the move. And I know there's a lot of contention about it, but David Bell pinch hit for Joey Votto against AJ Minter. Votto 0 for 6 with 4 strikeouts in a career. Minter's a left-handed pitcher, one of probably the nastiest out there. And David Bell decided to pinch hit and go to Jonathan India. And I loved it. I thought, wow, this is really great. The Reds are putting their best players out there, regardless of the best players for the particular situation, regardless of stature and all that kind of stuff. What do you think about this move?
I think it was the right move as well. You were playing the percentages, not the name on the back of the jersey. And, you bring India in against the lefty, and I would make that move again. The results do not mean that the process was not right. We kind of talked about that with Ian Jabot and like the pitch location. Like sometimes the results don't match the process being right. So overall, I liked it. I wanted India in the game against a lefty, and he would be starting if it was a lefty. So it's not like it was something, out of left field or anything like that.
All right. Next on the agenda here, decisions to go to Alexis Diaz and Buck Farmer, I guess, before that, Reds trailing. I know the Reds have typically, it kind of went against the grain, typically what they do in those type of situations. Reds are typically very conservative in terms of not wanting to overuse their best relievers when they're trailing. And I think overall it's been a good strategy, and you see how worked the bullpen's been. I think you understand why they went that route. If you're watching on YouTube, I have the bullpen usage heading into today. I think Alexis Diaz came into this game more so because he needed work than anything else. He only threw 8 pitches. I hate wasting Alexis Diaz's bullets, and I know it ended up working out because the Reds ended up having a chance to literally win the game in the 9th inning. If it wasn't for the usage and the Reds had other pitchers they maybe wanted to go to, I would probably have been against it, even with what ended up happening. But I think people have to remember, when you're trying to protect players from having injuries, you also need them to pitch consistently. If they're sitting and not throwing and not going out there and not having that game speed, they can get hurt that way as well. I don't know. I do think maybe in the case of Buck Farmer, I didn't really like using him today. I don't know. Maybe the Reds should have called someone else up to have another pitcher up here.
Yeah.
I don't know. Hindsight's 2020, but I don't know. What was your kind of overall thoughts on the usage here and late in the game?
I didn't think much about it, honestly. I mean, the Reds used 4 pitchers before going to Diaz. They needed to go to somebody in that spot. They were down 2. It's still a big moment or down 2 or 3 or whatever it was. It was still a big moment in that game. They had already used 4 pitchers. Okay, so Diaz has thrown the least amount. Why not put your best reliever in a big moment? He's thrown 8 pitches since he threw 30 on that Tuesday. So he was well rested. I thought it was the right move. I didn't think too much about it, honestly, at that time. I saw a lot of people, talking about it, but it kept the Reds in the game with a chance to win.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the Reds decide to do. Obviously, we expect Randy Wynn will be gone and will be replaced with someone. Will the Reds bring up another? Will the Reds maybe send down Stout as well, and then just try to that next start piece it together? Let Stout work. It's kind of a tough spot here. I mean, I guess you do have Sims, who hasn't pitched since Friday now. But other than that, I mean, everyone's pitched. I almost think they may have to just send Stout down and then figure out the next start in a couple days just to kind of keep some fresh arms up here.
Yeah, it might be kind of a revolving door in that bullpen for the at least next few days. I mean, this is kind of what happens when you have multiple injuries pile up and then you have like a bullpen day, and there's ways to work around it by having kind of scheduled bullpen days and kind of trying to schedule the bullpen entirely around those. But I'm not saying that's the most effective or efficient way to do it either. But the Reds are in a tough spot right now with injuries, and man, there's not a good answer. I can tell you that much right now.
Yeah. Well, let's get you to some positive news. The only minor league game that has gone final so far is the Dayton Dragons. They won 3-2 over Lake County. And the really exciting part of this game, Derek Law. I never thought I'd be so excited about Derek Law, but Clay, here we are. Derek Law threw a perfect inning with a strikeout. He actually started this game. Maybe. I'm sure it was just more of wanting to get him used first. But nonetheless, I do love using him as an opener. I love that idea. I feel like he's just so perfect in that role. But it'll be interesting to see what the Reds do with Law. Whether they say, yep, that's enough. We're going to send you out to Baltimore and activate him maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. Dayton goes up to Michigan, so I doubt he's going to stick with the Dragons. Louisville is at home, but Louisville doesn't play again until Wednesday. So I'm kind of fascinated to see what they do with Derek Law. Let's stop with Law, then we'll tell you about what else happened in this game. I mean, I think Derek Law could be a really, really good piece that this team really, really could use right now.
Absolutely. I mean, he looked pretty darn good throughout the year, and the way that the bullpen's been in the roster movement the past few days, bringing up guys that you'd rather not have pitching this year out of the bullpen. He's going to be a welcomed addition. Using him as a opener, I do like that. I really do. And I was kind of like anti-opener when it first started, just because I thought it kind of threw people out of rhythm. But if it helps and if the players are on board with it, I'm totally cool with it. So Derek Law is definitely going to be an upgrade from some of the arms that we've seen brought up in the past 2 weeks or so.
For sure. Other stuff from this game, Jose Acuna, 5 innings, only allowed 1 run, struck out 4. He's having an incredible year with
Awesome.
with Dayton. Wonder if he's going to get promoted soon. Edwin Arroyo was 0 for 3. Did walk and stole his 11th base. Matt Nelson, my guy, the catcher, hit his 11th home run of the year. Love that power from the catcher spot. A lot of Reds other minor league in action. Daytona's actually up 2-0 right now. Louisville and Charlotte, I think they're Louisville's up 6-0 in the second, and then Chattanooga, they play at 6. We'll have a full recap of the Reds minor league action in Chatterbox Reds in podcast form tomorrow for you. Clay, I want to give you the floor here. Any Reds minor league stuff that you want to talk about or any interesting thoughts? I know I didn't get a chance to hear the clip, but several people pointed it out to me. The MLB TV feed, the MLB radio feed didn't have it far enough back. But apparently Nick Kroll said the Reds are promoting some guys from AA to AAA soon. So I'm hoping to figure out what exactly was said, but I don't know what was said. Any Reds minor league thoughts?
That's the main thing right there, is getting Connor Phillips to AAA, in my opinion, in like now. I think he's shown all he can show in AA, especially with that tacky ball. And if there's any chance at all that he joins the Reds this season, I think they're going to want to get him to AAA just to pitch with the ball that's not the tacky ball that's being used in the Southern League. There is an adjustment period. They did the same thing with Abbott, put him there 2, 3, 4 starts. If the plan is to get him to the Reds this season, I think you have to do that. Even if the plan isn't to promote him to the Reds, getting him to AAA just to see kind of how it translates. He's just been fantastic this year, and he's somebody that I'm really excited to see. Other than that, in terms of like promotions, I think the starting pitching has been so fascinating and has just flown under the radar. And I recently wrote about that, and looking into these guys, like, it's pretty incredible how the Reds have been able to identify players that are either undervalued through the draft, through international free agency, through trades. And right now it's looking great for the Reds.
CES was out of the lineup today for Louisville. I'm not sure if it means anything.
Nick, I'm kind of
what do we do with this guy? I don't know what to do with him. I don't know what to do with him.
I don't either. I mean, it's gotten to the point I just don't. I guess, some people have talked about trading him. I don't want to do that. I don't think that that's the best path right now. I'd rather go into next year with way too many options than, just deplete the system right now. But shoot, I don't think it means anything him being out of the lineup today. Like, I don't read too much into that, because how many times have we done that? How many times did we overreact? Oh, Ellie's not in the lineup. He's on his way. I just saw him at Dixie Chili. I just saw him at Skyline. Like, it's absurd. I'm sick of doing that. So when he gets called up, we'll all know about it. We can all react then.
I do think what you said first, though. I was thinking this actually this weekend. I think there might be a little bit of an overreaction on two sides. And there may be an overreaction to, oh my gosh, the Reds don't have enough pitching in their organization. We don't have enough pitching. I think we're forgetting Hunter Green's on the IL. Nick Lodolo's on the IL. Connor Phillips is coming soon. Chase Petty's not all that far behind him. And it's as talented as I think anyone in this organization. There's also some other talented pitchers. I think on the other side, I think we might be a little too overconfident on how good our lineup is. It looks great right now. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. I'm excited about it. I don't want anyone to not be excited about it. But it's kind of one of these things where it's a pendulum that swings where we go, oh, man, the pitching's a disaster. We got to fix that. But the lineup's great. This stuff tends to swing back and forth quite a bit. And I wonder if in a couple of months we're going, oh, you know what? Hey, it might not be that way.
Yeah, and in terms of just the depth of pitching in the organization, I think it's good for the future. I don't think it's good for now, as we saw, right? Connor, I don't like him as a player that much, but like Connor Overton was supposed to be a depth option. He, hit the IL, like same with Justin Dunn's not healthy. Like there are some options that have not been healthy. And then Chase Anderson, was no longer in the organization. So that's where the depth scares me a little bit is like guys who can come up just like having adults in the room, like adults on this roster. I don't think calling up Connor Phillips is going to fix it right away or anything like that. It's a lot to put on a rookie. I want them to go out and acquire a number 4, number 5 type. I've mentioned Trevor Williams a bunch. He has an option, or I believe he signed through next year, like $6 million. Even if he doesn't pan out next year, if everyone explodes and everyone's great and healthy, you can put him in the bullpen. You can just move on from him. It's not that big of a deal. I don't think it will cost that much to get him. That's the type of player I see them more going after than taking big swings.
Yeah, currently on the IL for your Cincinnati Reds among starting pitchers, Hunter Green, Nick Lodolo, Justin Dunn, Vladimir Gutierrez, Connor Overton, and Ben Lively. That's a lot of starting pitchers that have gone down. I wonder if there's that many position players injuries, what our feelings would be. It'd probably be swinging the other way right now. But nonetheless, they just got to find a way, I guess, to kind of grind through that. The fact that they're a half game up on June 25th with this many starting pitching injuries is just a miraculous thing. And that's been our concern even during the winning streak was how it would hold up. I'm still of the mindset anything that happens this year is gravy.
Yeah. It's to the point where it's okay. Here comes the regression, I'm sure, right? Like the Reds got a 12-game winning streak with the rotation that they had is pretty incredible. And it's okay because they stacked some wins there that, if you lose 4 in a row or something, like it's not the end of the world. Like they're still in it at this point, even if they were to lose 4 in a row. We've talked about the schedule and how difficult it is for certain teams in the division and whatnot. Like I do think the Reds will still be in a spot that they can acquire a player that helps them win this year when it comes to the deadline. And that alone is something that we haven't seen in a long time.
Yep, absolutely. All right, let's see what we got going on next. Reds traveling to Baltimore to take on the Orioles. Brandon Williamson against Cole Irvin. Irvin's kind of been up and down this year. His last outing was actually, he pitched in the 8th inning in relief. So not sure how long he's going to be able to go in this one. Orioles are a good team. Tell me a little bit about the Baltimore Orioles. I think this is a team you really like, Clay.
Yeah, it is. It's a team that is fun to watch. Like if you're going to sit down and watch a game this week, make sure it's one of these Baltimore games. Adley Rutschman's absolutely incredible. The one thing with the lefty on the mound with Williamson, like Austin Hayes is a good outfielder. Gunnar Henderson, former top prospects, really been putting it together recently. Man, they're so fun. The bullpen's electric. I just really struggle to see a way that the Reds are going to go into Camden Yards and win some games here. But I've always said, I struggle to 4 in a row, 6 in a row, 8, 10, 12 in a row. So I've been proven wrong multiple times. This is a good matchup for the Reds with Irvin on the mound. He has been a complete disaster. They acquired him from Oakland this offseason in a trade that's just looked horrible. They had to demote him after trading him, and he's been in the majors for like several years. They demoted him after like 4 or 5 starts. Like that's how bad he was. He just recently came back up. That rotation in Baltimore, they need something bad. So if the Reds offense can continue to click like they have been recently, the Reds have a shot.
Yeah, Reds will miss Kyle Bradish, who I believe has been their best pitcher this year. But yeah, I mean, this first one, and the Reds have been able to win a lot of first games of series lately. Going to be, I think, a big one. Big start for Brandon Williamson tomorrow against a really good Baltimore Orioles team. 47-29. That's a heck of a season, but they're still 4.5 games back in the division. However, they are 5.5 games ahead of a wild card spot, so they're pretty well in the thick of a playoff race, have a really good chance of making the playoffs for the first time in a long time. But yeah, I mean, what an incredible back-to-back series for the Reds. A lot of people calling the most exciting team in baseball right now, the Cincinnati Reds. And hey, I'd have to agree. I'm enjoying watching them and getting to play against the Braves and now the Orioles. That's going to be exciting. I think there'll be a lot of eyeballs on this series. So I'm looking forward to it. Again, I mean, I think the Reds are kind of in a spot where you're just trying to really tread water. If you play close to 500 until August, I think you're going to be in a great spot. I don't see anyone in this division, knock on wood, going on some crazy run. I don't know if the Brewers really have enough consistency offensively, and even their starting pitching is not necessarily as great as it's been in the past. Anything can happen to baseball. The Reds just won 12 in a row, so but I really think if the Reds could just hang around 500 until you get Green and hopefully Lodolo back, it could really be an interesting season here.
Man, the way that this is lining up, that Tuesday game is going to be awesome. Tyler Wells is actually really good. He's somebody who not many people know. He's been awesome this year, and he's going to be tough. But Cole Irvin's not good. Kyle Gibson doesn't come with velo. A lot of off speed. Like, I think the Reds have a chance to hit him pretty well, even though he's a decent pitcher. And then you look ahead, San Diego, not the team that we thought that they would be. They have really struggled. Michael Wacha's been, really good this year, but I'm not entirely sold on him keeping that together. That's going to be a tough series, though. Luckily, we have Washington there with Jake Irvin, not related to Cole Irvin, however, similar in terms of just mediocre to bad, and Patrick Corbin. I know you were tuning in for that, chat. Patrick Corbin on the mound.
Patrick Corbin's not been as terrible as he's been in recent years. He's been decent this year. I'm not completely against trying to acquire Patrick Corbin if the Nationals would eat like 90% of that contract.
No,
you're
90% of it is still going to be. I think he's making over $25 million a year, and he's got a couple of years left, two years, I believe.
Okay, 95% of it, 95% of it. 99. They eat 99. Let's
No, I'm staying away from it.
All right.
No interest in Patrick Corbin whatsoever.
Oh, he's had a bad couple weeks.
Yeah.
His numbers were looking pretty good a couple weeks ago when I was kind of digging through who could be salary dump pitchers. Lance Lynn's my number one guy, but I think Lance Lynn probably has a bigger market than
he does. He's a vet who's been really good at times, has World Series experience. Like, he's somebody that, like, a contender. And what I keep coming up with these trades, Nick, is I don't think the Reds are going to be in bidding wars. I think that they're going to acquire players that fit and make sense, but I don't see them going out and saying, I want Lance Lynn. 6 other teams who are like, first place and 15 games over 500 or whatever it may be, your true like World Series contenders. I think that they're going to outbid the Reds. I don't think the Reds are going to get stupid and start, trading away multiple top prospects to get rentals, to get guys who are, kind of to fill out the rotation. I think that it's more, like I said, Trevor Williams, those type of guys that aren't going to be huge bidding wars, because I don't want to see the Reds doing that. And I don't think that they will either.
Yeah, if the White Sox are a smart organization, which that might be a stretch, they would be very smart to be asking, say, hey, we'll take on his entire salary or most of it. We want a decent prospect back for him. And that's where it maybe gets a little iffy, on a guy like him. But we'll see. A lot of baseball to be played before the trade deadline. But this has been a hell of a fun season for the Cincinnati Reds. An incredible series. I know the Atlanta Braves are absolutely exhausted leaving town. Telling you, they're probably telling everyone they know, yeah, that Reds team, that's a team you don't want to mess around with. Hopefully the Reds can just keep slugging their way to some wins here over the next month. That's probably what they're going to have to do. And right now, I'm not sure that's necessarily completely out of the question.
Man, bottom line, they've been fun. You know what it kind of felt like Friday night? It kind of felt like, I know you don't watch football, but most people can relate to this. It felt like an NFL Sunday where it's like, I've been waiting all week for this game. I am sitting down 30 minutes before, making sure everything's in place. I got my water here. your beverage, my snacks, like everything's ready. Like, I am zoned in on this game. It felt like an NFL Sunday to me, just like how much I was just like ready, locked and loaded, thinking about that game all day. Haven't felt that way in a long time about the Reds. So, we're getting that. We're watching better baseball. Now we just need to see a healthy roster.
For sure, for sure. Well, Clay, this has been an absolute pleasure having you on. Thanks for filling in. I'm glad we were able to have you come on for a post-game show this year. This is your first actual post-game show, right?
It is, absolutely. I'm glad that I didn't have to like chug anything or dunk anything. I wasn't put on the spot like that. I don't have any pillows that have celebrity faces on them or anything of that nature, but it was fun.
Yeah. Well, we'll get it tomorrow. We'll be back. Trace will be back in the fold. I believe 7:05 tomorrow, so we'll be going on around 9:40 or something like that, 9:30. We appreciate everyone as always. If you have not liked the stream, I haven't asked for likes for the stream yet. So I don't even know where we're at. Please like the stream. That stuff helps us out. Subscribe to Chatterbox Sports. I'm sure most of you probably are here, but the podcast, you guys have been incredible. Podcast was in the top 10 in baseball podcasts today, in the top 200 in all sports podcasts. That's just stupid. I can't thank you enough. The one thing we haven't got, though, enough of, and it's probably our fault because we haven't pushed it enough, is leave a 5-star review. Apparently, the smart people tell me that's really important. So if you follow Chatterbox Reds and podcasts, which I'm sure most of you that are watching probably already do, if you could take 2 seconds, just hit 5 stars on whatever platform it is. That would really help us. Want to continue to grow this show. And everyone, you guys are incredible. Honestly, can't even thank you enough for the support. More than I ever could have dreamed of.
There is a small trick here. Grab your husband, grab your wife's phone, get on their Spotify, their Apple, 5-star. 2 reviews, not just 1, 2. That's what I would do.
I had to put that one on. That's funny. All right. But as always, we will be back here tomorrow. Better than ever. Reds are going to win tomorrow. I'm feeling good about it. Go Reds.